Hi guys, welcome to Tanked Up. We're a beer drinking, video game playing podcast. Hopefully we can come to you every week, chat to you about playing what excellent video games we've been playing, and talk to you about the excellent beers we've been drinking every week.
Definitely.
I'm joined by Alex Malpass.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi. Yeah, I'm alright, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
Good. I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good.
So this week I thought we'd talk to everybody about the games we've been playing. And yeah, and also the games we're looking forward to in the next couple of months. So just sort of a few small games that are releasing very soon. But first, as we did last week, we're going to drink some beers.
Nice. So we've got another selection from Honest Brew Beer Delivery Company. So they're giving us some nice selection of beers to drink for a very reasonable price. So what we've got now is a FourPure Pilsner in a can, which should be
Cool.
bursting with freshness as a result. London Fields Brewery, Hackney Hopper Pacific Pale Ale. Don't really know anything about that. Should be interesting. And then a Wild Beer Fresh Pale Ale, which looking forward to, because they've always been good.
Excellent. Which one are we going to have first?
I think we should have... Question. Let's have...
It's a tough choice, picking your first beer.
Yeah. Let's have the London Fields.
Okay.
The Hackney Hopper. Is that right? Hackney Hopster, of course.
Not one you know much about.
No.
Not one I know much about either.
But we'll see. I'm sure they're good. Oh yeah. It's a nice noise. This is why you listen to this podcast.
Just to listen to the pouring of beer.
That doesn't make you want a beer. Nothing well. Oh yeah.
For anyone under drinking age, it's still fine.
Don't drink.
Excellent, this looks good.
So it's a kind of amber coloured, nice sort of medium, smoothish head.
Yeah?
Not a particularly aggressive nose.
No, not at all. That wasn't quite what I was expecting.
I thought it would be hoppier than that, in fairness.
Yeah.
It's quite like, it's almost got like a lagery kind of flavour to it.
It does, it's almost a little honeycomb.
It's okay, it's quite, I think it's going to build. It's one of those beers that'll be nicer at the end. Yeah, it's good.
Excellent. Right, we'll chat about that a bit later. So, first I thought we'd talk about games we've been playing this week. And you've been playing one game for a very, very long time.
A lot this week. So, shall I go first?
Yeah.
So, I've been playing StarMade,
Okay.
which is a sandbox kind of Minecraft-y in-space game. I guess that's how you describe it. I've shown it to a couple of people and I've had different reactions. So I showed it to a friend of mine and he was like, yeah, that looks kind of rubbish. And I was like, no, it doesn't. It's sweet. Because it's blocky. It's very like Minecraft. It's very, like the graphics are sort of kind of basic. But the tagline on the advert said there were 19 trillion galaxies to explore in it.
Excellent.
Which is, I think, more than the observable universe has. So it's actually bigger than
That's absurd.
the observable universe. Because it's procedurally generated. Each cube is something like 2 kilobytes of memory or something, so it can handle a lot of stuff going on in it. It's all about building enormous, stupidly complicated ships, mining from planets, engaging in skirmishes with pirates. Yeah, it's cool.
So, apart from the graphics and the shipbuilding element, it sounds a lot like a game I used to play a very long time ago, an MMO called EVE Online. We just used to jump into ships. It looked at the time with the computer I had, it looked absolutely phenomenal. Just hover in space and just observe everything. Just the way that the light came across sort of the galaxy, or came through the system that you were in from another system, and travelling in that game was nice. But that turned into very much of a mining or shooting pirates sort of game. I think it's evolved quite a lot now. Yeah, so it's a very different game now. But this was, well, I don't know, maybe 8-7 years ago. Too many beers to remember exactly when that was.
So I think this game's been in production for about that long. So it's the pre-release still. It's the alpha stage that I'm playing. But you can tell there's a lot of love has gone into it. It's very, like, there are various different wikis and stuff where you can look up everything about it. You can look up the equations that you need in order to, like, maximise the output of your power generators in certain ways that you're placing them, and combinations of things with other things or whatever.
So you can get really techy with it.
Yeah, you can properly geek out with it. I mean, you can do maths to make your ability in it better, which no, it's not always what you want to do. But you can look stuff up in spreadsheets or whatever to see how, like, so there are, when you're placing your power cubes, if you just make one big sort of solid cube out of them, like a brick or something, it's not maximising the output. And actually what you have to do is make a kind of axis, or like X, Y and Z axis out of them that just sort of defines a cube shape. And that will more or less generate all the power that you'd get even if you filled the cube in with small power cubes.
So it is a three-dimensional world, but it works on a three-dimensional basis as well. Everything you build has to be...
Well, power in particular, I'm just saying, and that's one example is that, like, you get diminishing returns for adding more squares of power blocks inside the structure that you're making if you make it in a certain shape. So understanding there's some equation there which, like, gives you a certain maximal output based on the way that you're putting them together. So I mean, it's not like, you know, you could play this as a teenager or something. You don't have to do maths, or, like, you know, as a kid, but you would be picking up these things and just sort of running with it rather than thinking too hard about, or just watching a load of YouTube videos where people show you how to do it or whatever. So,
show you the absurdly giant ships that they've made.
Yeah. So, like, there's different types of gun in there, like standard, like, missiles, beams, cannons, lasers, all these things. But, like, you can get the computer that runs one, like, so at the moment my ship's got damage beam and missiles. But I've got the damage beam computer slaved to the missile computer. And what that does is the combination of guns in that order, missile slaved with beam, means that my missiles are now homing. They heat seek. Yeah. So when you aim at something, it's just going to keep following that thing until it takes it out.
Qualo.
So you can have, like, there's other things. A combination of cannon and beam or something gives you this, like, punch through thing where, like, if you hit a block and destroy it, 50% of the power that you put into that block goes into the next block. 50% of the power of that block goes into the next one.
Okay.
So it's like a sort of...
So it can burn through things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shotgun kind of punch through effect or whatever. So yeah, there's loads of, like, intricacy. I mean, I'm scratching the surface on it. I think that me and Adol have been playing on our own server, so we're the only two people in the universe that we're playing, and so it's just us and a bunch of AI. But I imagine online it must be crazy. People, stupidly huge ships you could probably just run into and get horribly taken out or whatever.
Yeah, but I suppose it depends how many people play. Something with EVE Online, which is the only similar-ish kind of game I can make a comparison to. There weren't, when I played, it had only been out for a very short amount of time, and there weren't a massive amount of people playing per server, or at least that's how it felt, because it was so big. You'd go to a sort of a space station, a starting point, a community area as such, and you'd see maybe 3, 4, 5 ships orbiting around the space station, coming in and out of the space station. You'd go to do something like mining. So I played with a friend, and he had decided he was going to make a lot of money by mining materials, creating items, selling it all. And I was going to be his muscle as such, and had a much smaller ship with a lot more weapons on. But you'd go out to an asteroid field. He would start to mine. I would fly around, and AI pirates would turn up. I'd shoot the pirates off. He'd fill his cargo hold, would go back, put it in his bank or his larger area, and sort of rinse, repeat. Which was fun for a while. It was nice to sort of... The graphics were nice. It was cool to travel between systems and to pick up different things to sell between different space stations as well. So there was quite a good economy in that. But apart from being at these space stations, we barely saw anyone. So there was an element of... It was almost a single-player game. And it almost felt like it was just the two of us playing. So I wonder whether StarMade has a big enough community or a good enough server system to allow you to jump on with a lot of other players without feeling lost, without feeling alone. But space is quite big. So,
yeah, exactly. Space is massive, and so there's wormholes you can jump into that take you from place to place. You can also make jump drives that basically transport you from one place to another. But without those, and as in certain space stations, you get like a gate thing you can set up so that you can teleport off to different places. But basically, without those ways of accelerating, there's a maximum speed, and it's only something like 75 blocks a second. So a block, I think, is basically a meter squared.
Okay.
So everyone's got the same impulse speed, basically, and all you can do with loads of more thrusters is just increase the acceleration you've got. You can't actually increase the maximum speed.
Oh, okay.
So
it sort of controls how fast you explore the universe.
It does, yeah, that's right. Without a jump drive, anyway. And even with a jump drive, it takes quite a long time to reload that, and it's got a maximum of 8 sectors or something that you can actually get to. So what it means is that sometimes you'll plot your path to some, say, pirate station or shop or planet or asteroid belt or something that you want to go and investigate, and then you've just got to sit there holding down accelerate for I don't know, 2-3 minutes or 4 or 5 minutes or something, depending how far away it is. And there's no music. There's it's just just this sort of empty of space, no matter what you're doing.
So one of the nice things with Eve was that it had a really good soundtrack. Very fitting for being in space. Very sparse, sort of electronic, not beats, but sort of soundscapes as such. So it was very nice and fit the game really well, but then you're not experiencing that same sort of aloneness. I suppose it's something that stopped you from feeling even. Well, did it? I don't remember. That's far too long ago.
But I quite like the empty vacuum of space feeling that you get from it. It's it is, and then suddenly something pops out of so you're approaching a space station or something. And for ages you can't see it. You've got your waypoint marker indicating that's the right direction to go, but you can't see anything. This tiny little dot appears really, really far away. It grows really slowly as you're getting there. It gives you that proper sense of distance. You're thinking, Jesus, it's got a long way. If that's a pirate station, if you've not been there, you don't know where it is. I'm going to have to run away from this guy.
Only as fast as I got here.
Exactly.
Does the AI move at the same speed as...
Yeah, that's the maximum speed.
So they can continually chase you.
Yeah,
really.
That's right. You can't outrun it unless you go to a wormhole or have a jump drive. But then with your jump drive, you've got to be. I mean, I've been powering it up on my way to places, knowing if I need to dust out of there quickly, I've got a jump ready to go.
Okay.
And I've been spending a long time designing my ship. So to begin with, I was making, because the power thing being maximal in cubes or cube shapes, it means that my first couple of ship designs were just cubes, mini Borg cubes, basically, with guns on the top and the side and stuff. So obviously you need to have some kind of cube shape somewhere in the ship design, but now I'm burying that in the hull and making much bigger ships.
Yeah.
So I'm making three axes X, Y, Z of power cubes, and then I'll embed another smaller X, Y, Z axis inside that one and keep doing that until the cube's full.
Yeah.
But I'm filling it in the maximal possible way. So bury that inside as my core or whatever. And then on the outside I've just made a massive Star Destroyer wedge.
Yeah, you can create a hull around. Yeah.
That's right. And it's a massive grey armoured wedge thing with just like bristling with cannons and guns and stuff, and just stuck a camera in front. Because if you don't stick a camera on the ship, you have to see out of the core. And if you've surrounded the core with armour, you have to drive.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I, in a run-in with a pirate, when I hadn't got my shields figured out properly, took out my front camera, and then it reverted the view to inside the ship, and I had no windows, so I was
just struggling,
completely flying blind, and
man.
you don't get time to like pause and repair or something. So if I go outside the ship, he's actually going to shoot me, the tiny little like astronaut dude,
little block dude.
Yeah, he looks very much like a Lego man in the introduction.
I suppose it's something like Minecraft. It is that feeling of Lego, isn't it? It's that idea of being able to build whatever you want, surrounded by a game as such, or a single-player experience of mining and crafting.
Yes, there's a lot of crafting involved in it, making materials. So if you're crafting, if you're mining ores and whatever minerals and stuff, you then have to turn them into more valuable things, and then turn them into more valuable things before you go back to a shop and sell it. Otherwise, you're going to just not make as much money as you need to. Actually made this great pun, which needs to be said, about instead of... So I was in the middle of an asteroid field taking all of the like ores and stuff that I needed.
You say, oh yeah.
No, I was thinking that instead of like hose in different area codes, I had ores in different asteroid cores. It's great. I felt like such a G at that point.
Did you tell anyone at that point?
I did. I told Adil. He thought it was amazing.
Excellent, excellent.
He's the kind of guy who would think that was amazing.
Nice. That's fair. That's fair.
Anyway, okay, that probably wraps up Star Maid Corner for the week. What have you been playing?
I've been playing a few games. Well, I was playing a few games until I unfortunately injured my thumb and haven't been able to play anything since.
Oh yeah, that's true. Cut your thumb in half.
Almost. Yeah. So, can't use it for a week. But I can talk about the games I played last week. Which the first was Transistor, which is
I don't know what that is.
It's a game by Supergiant Games, and I was playing it on PlayStation because it's free with a PlayStation Plus subscription.
Okay, cool.
It's an isometric viewed action strategy game. So there's a lot of running between areas, experiencing the story, which is very good. The combat is very interesting because you can approach it in two different ways. You've got a hotbar at the bottom assigned to the buttons, and you can do some various different moves to be able to take out all of these robots that are trying to beat the shit out of you. And you can either basically just mash the buttons, do different moves, hit them in various different ways, or you can stop time and plan what you're going to do. So you then have an action bar, and you fill up your action bar with your actions, which will take a different amount of energy or time to undertake. So it's quite nice that you can go into a smaller skirmish with only a couple of enemies and just sort of run around, hit your buttons as you want, and kill them. And then when you get into the bigger battles where there's a lot of enemies, or it's an enemy you haven't encountered before, so you've got to work out what their strategy is, how they approach the fight as well. You can take your time, you can pause it, you can get behind them, backstab them as such to do extra damage, do various things like lay mines and stuff. So it's very nice in the way that it allows you to work in two very completely different ways when it comes to combat. The game looks really good. It's got a very, as I said, it's an isometric view.
So what does that mean, like to add sort of diagonally down?
So if you think of a diamond,
yeah,
and then you push the back of the diamond away from you.
Yeah, right. So like Streets of Rage, that's what I'm picturing in my brain.
No, Streets of Rage is more of a side scroller.
Yeah,
which had a plane where you could move back and forth.
I see what you mean.
This is so you've got your diamond, you push your back across, then you can move anywhere within that diamond. So it's think of something like Civilization.
Okay.
And the way that moves, it's very similar to that, but on a smaller scale, and you move between each of the squares.
Cool.
And the colours are fantastic. The way that each area is defined by a certain, not really heavily by a certain kind of colour, but there's always a theme to each area. the different sort of streetscapes that you encounter. It's part of the game further on where these robots are taking a foothold in what you're doing, and the colour palette completely changes to the colour of the robots, which is really good. It's fantastic. And the other big thing about this game is the music. It's got sort of a jazzy bebop sort of feel to it, and the main character is a jazz singer, and she doesn't speak. The only other interaction you have is through this sword that she carries around. Or I say it's a sword; it's more of a digital blade, I suppose. So it talks as well.
Like a lightsaber? What's a digital blade?
So everything, or the aesthetic of the game makes everything feel like it's almost physically formed code.
Okay.
So you can have parts of things so the robots, as such, like, will fade away as if their code has been broken, and they sort of dissipate. So there's part of the game where the sword pulls itself apart before putting itself together again, and it sort of comes apart in this sort of very nice digital sort of way, I suppose. But the sword talks to you constantly. It's your companion through the story, and it reveals a lot of the story and a lot about the characters through the sword, which is a very nice feature. And on the PlayStation, you get all of the sound through the TV, but the sword talks to you through the controller. So you've got a much more. So you've got a much controller. Yeah, there's a small speaker in the controller, so you've got a much closer voice. So it's almost your telly is over there, and that's where all of the background noise is coming from. And suddenly you've got this voice coming at you from next to you.
What does it say to you? Like, use me to kill him? Or what
no, I mean there's loads of dialogue through. So it talks about her. It does say things about enemies occasionally. So you encounter a new upgraded version of an enemy, and you'll go, "Whoa, that's a big guy," or something similar. So it's quite snappy, it's quite witty.
Voice or anything like
no, it's just a dude's voice. I have no idea what his name is. Sorry, dude.
What's he famous dude?
I don't know, not a clue. But the female character, Red, the girl you run around, doesn't talk. So there's an element that it's only the sword that is her. Is the talking point, it's the focal point, really. So even though you're playing as a character to move
she doesn't have a voice.
So not to spoil anything, there's an element that she's lost her voice. So when you first start her, I think she coughs a couple of times and then doesn't say anything to the sword, and the sword says tries to communicate with her and then says something like, "Oh no," like there's an element that it's realised that she can't speak. And there's a lot of things about she was not a political dissident, but that she was a jazz singer that sang about society and almost became a popular icon that then the government as such, or the people in charge, didn't like it. So that comes a lot into the story as well. But that's really fun to play. It's not very long. It was only, I don't know, maybe 6-7 hours to play through the whole thing. But it's got a load of replay value, because as soon as I finished it, I just started it again, played through the first sort of half an hour again until I had to go and do something else, rather than wanting to put it down and think, "Oh, I've done this." It was more that I had to then go, "Yeah, definitely." So that was really good. Nice. Really enjoyed that one. And the other game I've been playing, which I've been playing for a little while, is Drive Club, which is a PS4 exclusive racing game. And it's good. It's a nice racer. If you like racing games,
I like some racing games. I'm not keen on.
So if you like things that are a bit more like Gran Turismo.
Yeah, Gran Turismo. Except Forza. Forza felt like a very I don't know. Didn't have any like feeling to it. So I felt like I was in a crappy simulator.
Okay.
I like Project Gotham.
I never played Project Gotham. So Drive Club is more simulation than arcade.
Well, that's good.
It's nice. It works really. I say it works really well. Graphically, it's fantastic. Particle physics and shit are really, really good. One of the better games graphically on the PS4. But some of the mechanics in terms of the other drivers, especially when you're playing this single player element of it, isn't so nice. The AI cars are very almost like rubber banded. They've got their racing line, and that is the line they are going to stick to. And if you get in their line and they are pushed to the other side of the road, they will ram you to get you out of their line.
That's how you should drive in a racing game.
So you should. However, one of the key elements of this game is fame. And you get fame by driving well, by overtaking other people, by beating challenges that other people have set on keeping up an average speed or cornering a certain way. Taking a corner with with a great line gets you more points, gets you more fame. If an AI car crashes into you, you get minus points. So it's not something that you've done. It's something that the AI is inflicting upon you, and you get minus points just because you were in the path of where this car wanted to go. It's fine getting minus points if you come up to a corner and you smash into the back of the car, because the game doesn't have any element of realism in terms of damage. So you can ping off the sides. Yes, you have some physical alterations to the car, so stuff starts to get dented. I think I had one race, possibly, I wasn't quite sure whether this happened or not, where I'd hit so many things that the top speed of the car had reduced and it wouldn't go any further. But it's not something that I could explore, something that could be explored very easily to see whether there's sort of damage issues within it. But it's more that, having minus points is a good idea for smashing into other cars or pinging off of walls. Stops you being a knob and drive like an arcade racer, which is what I do. Smash into a car to take a really tight corner so it stops you, and you can just whip around the inside of them.
How else do you take tight corners?
Well, exactly. It has made me start to drive on the game better, so it is almost teaching me to play a simulation racer. But I don't think it's very fair. You get minus points when the AI car pings back into its path.
See, that's why Road Rash is always going to be essentially the best driving game of all time. Certainly the best motorbike-themed driving game of all time.
It's definitely not a driving game.
It is a driving game. It just happens to be a driving game where you can swing a chain around your head and hit someone.
Is there not a genre of game that's just coordination game? I suppose they're all coordination games in some way.
Such a good game too, iconic for anyone in our generation. Everyone knows it.
Completely.
It's wonderful. Right, let's have the FourPure pills now. This is going to be nice, I think.
Awesome.
Where's
this come from?
This is FourPure.
FourPure.
One of my favourite breweries. So anything in a can should be fresher. That's because the light can't get to the beer, and sunlight is the thing that kills hoppy flavour, which is why beer bottles are always dark coloured. And you only get my crappy homebrew in a see-through glass bottle.
No, you don't. There are some beers that do come in see-through bottles.
In a see-through bottle. That's true. It's not very hoppy anyway.
So why do they choose a clear bottle over a brown bottle?
I think that's just a design feature. There's no benefit of having a clear bottle.
And they think that they're going to be consumed in enough time to have no effect on the
possibly.
taste.
Or it's just not a hoppy beer, so it won't matter.
So it affects the hops as such, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this...
Continuing my beer education. And everybody else's.
Right, that's a nice noise as well. So this is going to be really light coloured.
It's always a nice noise. There aren't really any bad noises when it comes to beers.
No, that's probably true, I suppose. Maybe a bottle breaking.
Possibly. A fire alarm going off because someone's gone out the fire door.
Yeah.
Absolutely hammered.
I tell you what is a bad noise is when you're bottling up a batch of homebrew and you've got, 50 bottles to get through or something, and they're all lined up on the floor. You've filled them up and you're applying the bottle capper to squeeze the caps on, and one of them skids on the wet floor, and like Domino's takes out like another 5 or 6 bottles. And you just and it's like, oh, that's bad. That's all that beer.
That's lame.
Yeah.
Right, cheers.
Cheers.
That smells very good.
Yeah, really dry, really full-on lager flavour.
Ooh.
That's a good lager.
That is.
Do you remember the Camden pills from last time?
Yeah.
Can you think of a comparison? Do you think?
Probably not. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, it's a few weeks ago.
Problem is, it's difficult to remember the taste of something whilst you're experiencing the taste of something else. Especially when it comes to beer.
This is drier. It's got like a more. It's got like a fruitier finish to it.
It is definitely drier.
It's got like an orange
Yeah.
note in the background. It's not as pale and it's filtered, whereas the Camden one was unfiltered. But I quite like unfiltered beer.
Okay.
Because it doesn't really do that much to the taste, but it does something to the texture, makes it kind of a little bit thicker, so it's like the mouth feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's some kind of weird fashion that commercial beer has to be filtered because people don't like cloudy beer.
So is it a slightly smoother taste when it's filtered?
It'll be a crisper taste, I would say. Like compare a Guinness to a Stella or something. I'm thinking to like off the shelf kind of normal beers. A Guinness is much like creamier or whatever, whereas the Stella's much crisper.
Yeah,
that's kind of the difference because, I mean, a Guinness is going to be filtered, but like it's thick like a homebrew because a homebrew pale ale or pills or whatever could still be thick like that. Like my friend Adam made a sort of strangely like really thick pale ale the other day, and like I really liked it, but it was like I don't know, like almost like foamy or something. Like all of it was like thick and like I don't know, bubbly or something. I don't know. It's difficult to describe it, but I quite liked it. It was nice. You know, just not a thin kind of beer.
Yeah, this one's definitely quite thick.
It's nice.
It is very nice. It sits very well.
They really know what they're doing. They're one of the best breweries around.
Yeah.
Exciting. And it's nice to see them. The packaging is good. The sort of design on the can, it's not over the top. Like we had a Beavertown one last time.
We did.
It was funky. It was cool looking. The whatever, but like on the shelf, you can see this from a mile off. You know exactly what you're looking at straight away.
Yeah, it's much more recognisable.
Yeah, which is kind of, I don't know. It's a good piece of marketing.
I suppose it depends what you're looking for. If you're, do they think with a lot of craft ales that people go in knowing what they're going to buy, rather than thinking, "Oh, my eye's more drawn to this one. I'll try that one."
Yeah, well, I think there's like your old school ale bottle where it'll be called something like Bishop's Finger or you know the something. It's always that, and then there'll be some intricate picture of a goblin or some kind of weird like fantasy picture or some like embellished like
woodland scene
and stuff. Yeah, exactly that type of thing. And there's definitely a move away from that, and then there's the idea which is that like it because that's like the only thing that you're moving away from. The field is open for what should a beer can look like. And so you got your Beavertown like crazy. Whatever, there was some like astronaut with some like...
It was like a zombie skeleton-esque astronaut, wasn't it? With a laser beam and a pyramid in the background. I've seen a couple more recently of their cans, and they're all very arty and out there. Nicely hand-drawn.
Yeah, absolutely.
The art is very good.
But then you've got, like, say, Wiper Intro or Viper Intro. I've heard people say Viper instead of Wiper. I don't know which one it is. I'm saying Wiper like an idiot, but...
I don't know. Is it a V or a W?
It's a W, but...
And where does it come from?
Well, they're from Bristol. I don't know whether it's German or something. Anyway, whatever. Let's call it Wiper Intro until someone corrects me. So their bottles are just like white or kind of cream labels with a golden, like, embossed picture. So one of them is an elephant balancing on one leg on a balloon or something.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
And it's all just, the only difference is what the thing is in gold on there. So it's always recognisable, you know, same colour label with the gold, and like it's sort of tasteful. It's not over the top. It doesn't look like a kind of piece of street graffiti or I don't know, like a Beavertown. That's what I kind of felt like. Yeah, it's cool looking, but it's almost like cliche cool. It's like, you know, too urban and down there or something. I don't know. You don't have to be like a FourPure. It's just nice logo, nice packaging.
Yeah,
they've just done it like right.
Yeah, yeah. It does seem very appealing. It's very limited colour-wise, so yeah, it works quite well.
And it tells you what you want to know as well. So it's got a little thing on the side with the ABV. So we've got the original gravity. What else are we looking at? The units, the IBU, so it's the bitterness, calories, telling you how it's supposed to be served at 6 degrees Celsius, so essentially chilled.
Okay.
And it's just nice that it gives like little bits of information. I think it tells you the hops and the grain bill that goes into it as well, which is it's cool. I like it.
Nice.
I'm a fan.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm definitely a fan. This is very nice. So, games we're looking forward to.
Okay.
In the next couple of months. There's lots of games I'm looking forward to.
Okay, cool. Do you want to start then?
Go on. Yeah. There's a few games that stand out quite a lot. And the first one is called Cities Skylines.
Mm-hmm. So it's a simulation game. Right?
So it's a city builder by, I think, Colossal Order. Yeah. Published by Paradox Interactive.
So I'm thinking
but think of SimCity.
Yeah.
And it's similar. I fucking love those games.
I do love those games as well.
So
long ass games.
Yeah, being able to build a city, how it looks, how it feels, is really nice. And SimCity, the newest SimCity, had a few issues for me.
Such as?
The maps were tiny. You had to have almost a sense of not resource management, but you had to give up part of your tiny map to, say, like an oil drilling rig, a coal mining plant, have some kind of industry to be able to export and bring in some money. So you had to give space up for that. Now, I don't think every city built has some kind of mineral extracting, fuel extracting plant. So it was an issue that was such a big part of the game. Now you could diversify and you could say, well, I don't want to specialise in oil or coal or anything like that. I'm going to have a luxury city. And you could start placing casinos, sports stadiums, various things like that to bring tourists into your city to generate money in that sort of way. And it was nice to know that if you were going to play that way, that there's an element that one of your stats, like crime, will start to go up, because a lot of the gambling houses and smaller sort of entertainment facilities would bring more crime, more people coming to your city, so more crime is coming to your city. And that was okay, but really all it meant was, let's place another police station here and increase the funding to police station. Whereas, from what I've seen, I've not seen much of City Skylines. I've seen a couple of small trailers, but what I've seen almost makes me think I'm just going to buy this as soon as it's fully released. So,
but why did you think that?
There's so it doesn't have the resource extracting element to it. I believe the maps are a little bit bigger. You've got a lot more space to be able to do things. The way that roads work, because I think these guys made a couple of other city building games that focused a lot more on transport systems, which I would imagine has been brought over into this game. So you can have...
that doesn't sound like the basis of a great game.
Having excellent transport routes. Oh, mate, if you've ever played Transport Tycoon...
I haven't played Transport Tycoon.
Transport Tycoon was a quality PC game from a long, long time ago. I probably played it when I was 15, something like that. So we're looking at 15-ish years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, not that long ago, about 2000.
Yeah, okay.
Right, it's quite a long time ago these days.
Yeah, man. Think about it, I know.
Jeez.
But Transport Tycoon was great, and all Transport Tycoon was was moving goods or people between points.
Yeah.
So you would move some logs from a forest to a sawmill. You would then take that to a paper mill, or however that works. And that was great. And it was all trains and planes and buses. And yeah. Well, good. But SimCity doesn't quite give you that. And I've not played this other game to know exactly how that works. But from the trailer, you can make some elaborately absurd roadways. And almost with SimCity, it was, this is road A, traffic will flow this well on road A, and you can place it here, 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 and here, and here, and here, and you can create a couple of bridges between various points. This game looks like it allows you to do looped, inclined roads, which can then arch over other roads. It almost seems like it gives you a bit more of a sense of creativity, rather than SimCity felt like you were just laying out grids and going, in this grid is industrial, in this grid is residential, in this is commercial. And then going, well, I need a school over here, well, I need some police over here, well, my resources have got to go there. SimCity did a nice thing with its data and the way it layered over the top of the map. So you could say, where is the most amount of crime? Turn on that filter, and your map, your screen would suddenly turn into a lot of bars which showed you how high or how low crime was in those areas, and how it would show you on the map where oil reserves were and things like that. And that was a very nice feature, but it then almost made you go, well, this is the map, this is how I've got to play it. Maybe I wasn't creative enough with it, but from the time that I played it, I'd sort of play a little while, build up a city, get it running and go, I'm done, I'll start another one. So hopefully with City Skylines having slightly bigger maps than the release of SimCity, it should allow for a few more options and things. So, but it'd be good to play it and see what it's like. And that will turn into a game I have played this week, but not this week.
The future. Spoiler.
The future. I don't know when it's out. I think it's March.
Yeah.
So it's only next week.
Not long.
So
next week.
Ooh, it might be next week, but then it might be in
March
4 weeks.
Is next week.
Yeah. Very true, very true. What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to No Man's Sky. But partly because
looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it does. Well, it does, but it surely can't look that good. Well, I mean, maybe it can. I don't know. So it's like StarMade.
Yep.
In that you're exploring a galaxy or whatever, universe. And it's like a no-load screens, just fly over to anything and it'll allow you to interact with it like StarMade.
So you seamlessly move between planets and the ground, and being on a planet to being in space.
That's right, yeah. So just like StarMade in that respect. It's not Minecraft cube-based environment. It's really slick looking. I mean, the demos on it look unbelievable. But I'm not quite sure what the point of it is. I'm not sure whether you can design your own ships like you can in StarMade, or whether it's...
From what I've seen, I don't think you can, but I think they've only released a very limited amount of information about the game itself.
Yeah, that's right. They're not really giving anything away, apart from this game looks like it's going to be sweet. I mean, so I'm just a little bit worried that with it being a big release, it's going to be glossy, it's going to be big graphics, loads of like wow factor scenes and stuff in it, but is it going to have the gameplay to go with it? I'm just kind of curious to see what it's going to be like.
But does that... So, if you're curious about how the game actually plays, does that mean that it's something that you would purchase straight away? Or would you wait until more information has come out about it?
Well, yeah, I probably won't buy it on release date, but it'll probably be a sort of thing where, like, on a payday, I might think, ooh, I should buy myself some kind of treat right now whilst I've got the cash. I wanted to buy that, so I might... It's that sort of thing. I won't be queuing up outside the store on the day that it gets released.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll see what it's like. I haven't got massive hopes for it because I kind of feel like I'm so into StarMade right now that I'm going to be comparing the two against each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not these days that impressed with really, really good graphics if there's nothing to go with it. You know? So,
yeah, definitely.
like, give me gameplay and crappy graphics over.
So
really
if
good
the
graphics and nothing to do with them.
I think a lot of or what's been released, some of the games about exploration and having, as StarMade does, have a massive universe to be able to explore, and you visit various different planets that other people have yet to discover.
Yeah.
And you go down and you don't know what you do down there really. But you go there and you go, oh look, I've seen this thing.
Yeah.
And then you get to say, this is the Ben monster. And everyone that then comes to that planet goes, the fuck is this Ben monster thing? Some tiny little rat running around, not like worried about anything.
Ben Monster 573.
Yeah. So it does seem a bit strange that they've not released a lot, but it then makes it a little bit more interesting, I suppose.
Yeah.
In the same sort of strange way, it's a bit more intriguing as to what you will actually do.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see some reviews when it comes out as well. I mean, if everyone's panning it and it's crap when it comes out, I probably won't bother investing what will probably be about 35 quid for a brand new.
I suppose it's
game.
It's a strange time as such, because you can watch so many YouTube videos or Twitch streams of people playing the game, to be able to, rather than reading a review or watching a video review, which is somebody giving you their opinion of the game,
you can just
watch it. You can see exactly what's going on. So you can, okay, you're still only experiencing what that person's experiencing, but you can experience that for 2 hours. And okay, you're not playing it, and I don't worry about that. I think I'd rather play something to, not form an opinion on it, because I'll have an opinion beforehand, but play something to really experience it rather than watch something.
I'd probably want to, have those sweet like early explorations of a game by actually playing it rather than watching someone on a stream. I'd rather watch someone playing a game if they were particularly good at it. And it's like sports, where you're
a competitive,
playing, something and seeing their technique and seeing how good they are, rather than seeing it for the first time. It kind of feels like it's a bit of a spoil. Like, I don't really want to watch anymore. I saw enough of the official trailer. Well, I watched the official trailer a couple of times and was like, it looks sweet. Like, if I want a game like that. So StarMade's good. Obviously, I'm becoming obsessed with it, but like. I've kind of got the feeling that I'm not sure where it's going to go. Like, I don't know. The multiplayer element of it might rescue it for me, but I think after a while I'm going to get, like, okay, I've got a massive ship. Like, my ship right now can take pirate raiders just like whatever. Come on, like 6 at a time. My shields don't drop below like 97%. I'm just absolutely fine just taking them out. One hit, they're dead.
So then there are harder areas you could go to test your ship.
Well, there's
against
pirate stations themselves, but as soon as you attack a pirate station, it then calls in backup, and I can at this point destroy the backup without any worries. I haven't got to the point where I can take out a pirate station, but I've got about 2 million credits right now, which is a lot, and I can. It's a lot from where I am. So I'm going to expand my Star Destroyer with a couple more batteries of shields and missiles and stuff, and take out pirate ship. But then I've got a feeling if I take out pirate station, that's more or less the only type of.
That would almost be the end game.
It might
element.
Be. So I think what you've got to. I think with the multiplayer, what's going to happen, I might be taking this back next week when I've done this more, and it's not how it works. But I think at this point that you sort of have like factions and you control bits of territory and stuff, and so you can go into a bit of territory and claim it like a sector as yours. So if anyone comes into it, I think you've got to like defend it, or else they can take it off you, and then it becomes a kind of territorial battle thing. So I think at that point, that's what's going to save it. It's going to be this.
Like a little contested zone, sort of. Okay, that sounds interesting.
So we'll see. We'll come back to it. Cool. Let's open this last beer. So this is Wild Beer Fresh. So I'm a big fan of Wild Beer as well. They're, I think they started their beer with crowdfunding not that long ago, and now they're quite big. They like to sort of pride themselves on having different beer recipes, different. I think their thing at the beginning was using like traditional beer making techniques or something. I'm not sure exactly if they're still on that as their USP, but they are big, full-on experimental flavour kind of brewery. So if you want something like different to what you've tasted before, like a big punch of flavour, so I'm hoping this is going to.
So do they have a lot of different beers out at one time?
Yeah, they normally have 6 or 7 beers that you can readily find in good beer places. So we go in Small Bar, Beer Emporium, somewhere like that in Bristol, and you'll see them on tap all the time.
Okay,
they're big for people who like beer. Definitely.
And talking previously about the can, this does have a very slick look to it on the bottle. Yeah,
right. So they've got a kind of like antlers and a deer head thing. So this is on all of them, but it's different colours.
Okay, so they retain the same logo every time. Yeah. It's the FourPure. FourPure? The FourPure
as in the number. Yeah. And pure as in
the word pure.
Yeah.
Do they retain that as well? Do they just change their the colour of their cans?
There's a different logo in that.
In the small area.
That's the grain, because it's the Pilsner malt that's distinctive about that lager.
So then the text as such is more the logo, and the icon defines what the kind of beer is.
I think that's right.
Right.
I might be wrong, but I think that's right.
Welcome to Tanked Up, the product design criticism podcast.
Where anything either of us says could be wrong.
Yeah, completely.
So yeah, cheers. Cheers. Beer of the night.
It's quite light.
Like a big, expressive aroma to it.
Has got a big smell.
Ooh, and see, that's a completely unusual taste. Now, that's not like it's like a. Jeez, what is that like? It's really hoppy.
What is that like?
Yeah, it's really difficult to describe it. It's like.
I see the back of the bottle is covered in words I'm not going to read.
It's almost like it's got mint in it. Like that initial flavour. There's hoppiness, but like kind of mint or something that's quite like. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to put my money on that being mint.
I'm getting a more lemony sort of
there's
taste from it
in there as well, definitely. Yeah, it's almost like green tea or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was in there.
It is very nice though. I think you were right in it being the one you were looking forward to.
Yeah,
it's I suppose it's very unfair to compare the FourPure pills to it, because it's a very different bit.
Yeah, that's true. But
then even the London Fields brewery beer was a very different beer as well.
So this was
a very different taste.
The first one was more of a kind of traditional pale ale, like an English pale ale almost taste. Whereas this just isn't really a style of beer. This is just like a big hoppy taste. I guess it's a pale ale, but I mean,
with some hints of lots of different flavours.
Lots of different flavours. Yeah, there's probably stuff in there that's not normal beer ingredients. Like I'm saying, mint isn't a beer ingredient normally. So this is like famous beer law from I don't know where it was, but in like the 1700s or something, where they made it the law that you can only use hops, barley, and yeast and water. And then, but apart from water, only 3 ingredients were allowed, and you're not allowed to put anything else in beer.
So to be able to call it beer.
Yeah, that's right. So all beer was made, and that's sort of had a massive effect on shaping like what we think of as beer these days. They made this German purity law for what beer could be, and so for instance, Scottish beer, they were chucking thistles in there, dandelions, all sorts, like crazy stuff. Obviously, Germans were like, that is not beer. This is beer, nothing else. Which is fine. I mean, they like defined a really great drink for the rest of the world. So it's cool. I don't mind that. Wild beer wouldn't be doing too well in those days.
Well, it's almost a very apt name, with them having a lot of different flavours in there.
Absolutely.
Whether you get a bit more sort of, as you said, with other beers getting some more sort of plants and things in there as well, to give a a lot more different flavours, whether it is actually quite wild.
I don't think it'd be wild. I doubt they're scavenging.
No, possibly not. Just one guy out in the woods every night, weeping to himself slowly.
Hands like bruised with thistles.
Torn apart.
Oh, like you.
Yes, a little bit like me. Though I wasn't in the forest.
Went in the wild.
I was in the kitchen.
At home, domesticated. What were you actually doing?
Chopping cabbage.
Cabbage.
Yep. That exciting. Wasn't juggling knives or anything.
And did you
remotely
just
dangerous.
like down tools and then left for A&E and then
pretty much
came back and just carried on where you left off?
It was a very sharp kitchen knife, which I recently got as a Christmas gift. Thanks, Mum.
Shout out.
And it went straight through. Didn't feel a thing.
Didn't feel a thing immediately.
Didn't feel a thing immediately, and then went, oh, there's a lot of blood there.
Nice.
And just shouted Kim and said, I think we need to go to A&E.
Yeah, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. It wasn't that much. Felt a bit rough the morning after.
Okay.
I wonder whether it was a bit of delayed
blood
body issues. No, who knows? No, it wouldn't be that. It bled quite a lot. Anyway, yeah.
So that's not a game. Or
it's not a game.
Happened.
However, it stops you playing games, so...
Annoying.
It is, but I've got other games I would really like to play in the next coming months. My thumb will be fully healed when they come out. I mean, there's a lot of games coming out.
You should be on PC games for a bit then, because you
possibly. I did think I'd pick up DayZ, the standalone version, and play that a little bit more. I played it when it was first released.
Get a star made. I'll share the Dropbox folder with my server in it.
Oh no,
I'll be in the same universe as me.
So, I used to play a lot of MMOs, and I've sunk a lot of time into a hideous drug of a game called World of Warcraft.
Mainlining game straight into the artery.
I think now I much prefer. I don't know why my feelings about games have swung this way, but I just prefer a much more single player experience now, and I prefer a much more story driven game. So something like The Last of Us from 2 years ago I think is absolutely phenomenal, and it's not just a fantastic story, it's a great game as well, and it's got enjoyable mechanics, and how you have to approach each area and situation is varied enough that it keeps you playing through the whole thing. Like the story does. If the mechanics weren't quite as good as they are, if they were a little bit lower, I would have still played because of the story. Mm-hmm. But there's something about that game it just brings everything together. It is a ridiculously good game.
Fair enough.
But I think that I'm getting my gaming through that sort of way at the moment, and I'm not.
You're getting old.
I mean, yeah, possibly. My reactions aren't quite as quick. I'm not playing as much Call of Duty or any online shooters. I've stopped playing Battlefield. I keep getting shot. Fuck this. I'm just going to go and play.
It's too exciting. You don't like it.
Oh, what's happening in the background there? I can't see.
See, I want a game now. I'm so old that I want a game that's based around like Westminster politics. I want something like I can.
We've been playing it. We've been playing Democracy 3.
That's true. Yeah, but it's not quite the same. I mean, yeah, Democracy is a good game, that's true, but I want a game where, like, I don't know, I lose an election to Nigel Farage or something really annoying like that. Just like,
not quite, but real-life-based political game.
That's right. I want it to be called something like Election Failure or something. That would be like, you know, the aim of the game is to, like... that you're Gordon Brown and you're definitely going to lose the election, and the aim of it isn't to be re-elected. The aim is to like throw away a promising campaign or something with some stupid comment about how someone's a racist or a bigot or something. You're supposed to like do something like that so that someone really lame beats you like David Cameron, and then that's the type of game I'm looking for now. That's how old I am.
You can feel disappointed in yourself.
That's right, and then I'll be like, yeah, sweet, I feel disappointed and filled with angst.
Would there be a way to actually win an election in this game?
I think if you win the election, you lose the game. I think that's how this game would work.
So your poor political career is the game just continues forever.
That's right. Re-election failure. Or something. That's what I want it to be called. Or it could just be called Gordon Brown or something. Brown's
harsh.
Legacy or something.
Harsh. He was all right.
Yeah, I liked him. He was great. For a friend of mine, I made him on his birthday a T-shirt that just had a big print of Gordon Brown's face on it. And he was DJing a few nights later, and he said he wore it whilst he was DJing in a club in Bristol, and a drum and bass set as well. Someone came up to him and was like, "Wicked T-shirt, man, that's wicked." It's like, I'm not wearing it ironically. I'm wearing it again because I express my support for Gordon Brown.
So if Gordon Brown's international political or any kind of career goes down the pan, just merchandise himself.
Yeah.
Little Gordon Brown bobbleheads.
I think it might be a little bit too late for giving him advice about what might happen if his career goes down.
Possibly. We may
Sorry,
need
Gordon,
to
if you're listening to this at some point somehow, randomly, you are a legend, but your time is definitely past. Unfortunately,
maybe.
Done.
So we're getting towards the end of the podcast.
And off topic, definitely.
Very off topic.
Off-piste.
Are there any other games, very quickly, you're really looking forward to?
No, at this point I haven't really taken my eyes off StarMade for the last 2 weeks. So I'm
fully integrated.
Are there any other games that are happening right now? I don't know.
There's a few. A couple of like the two biggest games I'm looking forward to are the new Batman game, Arkham Knight, because who the fuck doesn't want to be Batman?
That's true.
Fly around.
Gordon Brown probably doesn't want to be Batman.
I bet he does. It's like, but I could pull off a Batman costume.
He might want to be Batman
special.
if he could change everything about him to be like Batman, but not if it was just him being Batman. Two different scenarios.
Completely different.
Anyway, so yeah, you want to play that?
Yeah, and it's going to be more Batman. It's going to be more of the Arkham series. Flying around, driving a car, beating the shit out of people.
Yeah, why not?
Hey, everything I don't get to do in real life. I don't want to do in real life. Don't want to beat people up. But you get to do that in this game. A little bit of escapism.
Would you
beat
want
up the
to
bad
beat
guys?
people up in real life if you were Batman?
If I was Batman?
I mean, you don't want to beat people up as you.
That's true.
Do you want to beat people up as
If I put a hood on and just went out in the street and just beat the shit out of someone, dressed as Batman...
Yeah, with a kind of like...
I think that's probably wrong. Is this anyone, or is this a Batman-style villain? Am I going out to take down someone doing wrong?
You're doing wrong to people who are doing wrong. That two wrongs makes a right. Doesn't it? Definitely does. That's what Batman... If anything, that's what Batman teaches us.
The other game I'm looking forward to, which may be similar in terms of fighting people, is The Witcher. The Witcher 3.
Okay.
Which looks really good. It's a third-person action RPG where you go on a quest to beat the shit out of people, or to stop someone doing something absurd, destroying the world, hunting witches. Such. I've never played a witch game.
I don't think I've ever even heard of a
I think the first two were Xbox and PC, or the first one was Xbox, and then then it was Xbox and PC. But this one's going to PlayStation 4 as well. So I will be jumping straight on that as soon as it is out. Unless someone wants to send me a copy, CD Projekt Red, then I'll be more than happy to play that game. Very hopeful, very hopeful. But it does look awesome, and I enjoy games like that. So it's something similar that's come out. So Shadow of Mordor is another third-person, action-orientated game. You run around an open world and kill orcs.
But you have that already. So
I do. So it's going to be... as I said... I'm jumping more into story-driven games, and I think something with The Witcher, there is a lot of gameplay, but it's going to have this story element. I don't think the Shadow of Mordor story was very good, and I played that game more for the gameplay element. So even though The Witcher may be similar and have similar gameplay elements, I think I'll probably play that for the story because I've never experienced it before. To me, it's a completely new IP, even though it's the third iteration of the game.
Yeah,
it's completely new to me. So I think it would be nice to jump into that. So yeah, the other two games I'm looking forward to. Being a badass, rocking the streets.
We've exceeded an hour. We should probably call it an evening.
Yeah, I think so.
Without going into more games. Well, I'm sure you could talk more about more games.
We could. There are more games coming out, and more games that we've been playing. But so, what was your favourite beer?
Good question.
So we had the London Fields Brewery Hackney Hopster Pacific Pale.
And that was a kind of traditional-ish English pale ale,
Yeah.
I guess. That's a way of describing it. So it wasn't particularly hoppy. For a name that has the word hop in it, for a hop pun beer, I expect it to be really hoppy. Like if I ever get the chance to drink Hoptimus Prime, which I really hope I do at some point, I want that to be a hop fest.
Epically
I want it to be
hoppy
stupidly
beer.
hoppy. Otherwise, they've just taken a very good name and wasted it.
Okay.
So, for a hop pun beer, not as hoppy as I wanted.
Sure.
A little bit of a disappointment. It was quite nice. You know, I would definitely drink it again.
Okay, I enjoyed it, but as you said, I thought it would be hoppier than it was. Then we had the FourPure
Yes.
Brewing Company Hills.
Yeah, that was very nice. It was a very nice lager. Again, if you like lager, try out a different type.
So it's much more like the Camden Pills as well.
Camden
That's what
Pills is
yeah.
excellent. Yeah, I think Adnams do a very similar one that's worth drinking as well. But yeah, and then lastly we have the Wild Beer Fresh. So it's wild beer, so it's a crazy taste, big taste.
Yeah, I think that was probably my favourite. I think just because of the uniqueness of it, it was very different too. Sort of your, I wouldn't say that the Hackney Hopster was a standard sort of taste, but it's very similar to a lot of other beers. Whereas the wild beer was sort of very unique.
Yeah, true. Well, so if you're going for wild beer as your favourite
Yes,
one,
yeah.
Well, just for the sake of it, then I'll go for the FourPure, just because one of us has to.
Yeah, that's fair. No, it was very nice. Yeah, it was.
All right, cool.
Excellent. Well, we'll call this a night.
Yeah.
How can people get hold of us? How can people get hold of you?
On Twitter. We're on Twitter.
We are.
And we are... Why are we on Twitter?
Oh, you've asked me now. See, this is the point of the podcast. Come on. Drink a load of beers. Forget absolutely everything.
Who are you?
So on Twitter, we are at tankedup_cast. You can follow me at Nova_47. That's NOVA_47. And you're still not on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter. No, I am, because we're on Twitter.
So you could send us a letter.
Yeah, you could send
Although I'm not going to give out our addresses.
You could knock on doors until you find us.
You could.
It's one way of doing it.
Search the streets of Bristol, hoping that somebody is there. Or you can email us at tankedup.cast@gmail.com. Cool. Until next week, take it easy.
Take it easy. Cheers.